The first thing we need to do is establish what key we are in. Because there is one sharp in the key signature, we can assume it is either G major or E minor. There are no D sharps present, so we can assume that it is G major. Now let's write out the scale of G major and identify the primary triads and what notes are within them. This will make it much easier to add your chords and to identify cadences. We can't do a 2-5-1 progression for the first cadence, but we can do a 1-C-5-1 progression. First, write down the names of the chords underneath each note, and then add the bass line. Notice in the 1-C-5-1 that the note stays on the same note, the dominant, and then either rises or falls to the tonic. We then add the inner parts. The first chord doesn't have a G in it and it needs to be a chord of G, so therefore we must have a G which can fall to an F like this in the alto. Now let's add the tenor part. We already have all the notes of the chords, so we can double either the root or the fifth. Let's double the fifth, which is a D, which can stay the same, and then finish with the third. We can now make that chord 5-7 by adding a passing note, thus delaying the seventh, which is stylistic, and also it is prepared by step from above and resolves by step below. This is the correct way to prepare and resolve a seventh. Please make sure you always do this. We now move on to the second cadence. We notice that we could do a 2B-5-7-1 progression, which is stylistic. You need one chord per beat. Even though there is a minim in the soprano, we need two chords, 2B5 and then 1. Now that we've added the bass line, we need to add the inner parts. Again, we need to prepare any sevenths from above, so we need a high tenor part here, which falls by step, and then falls to the third of the chord. We can then add the seventh, which is delayed, and it's therefore prepared and resolved properly. Please take note of this. I've now added the alto part, where I've prepared and resolved the seventh in 2B7 correctly as well. It's now time to add all the inner parts. Choose a chord for each note, remembering that there needs to be one for each beat. Remember, you can change these, so work with a pencil and a rubber. Once you have chosen a chord for each beat, start to enter the bass line. Then enter the inner parts. I've sped this up a little bit. Now let's hear what it sounds like.